Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your Week 5 Monday Morning Breakfast Bite. So this week we are going to be completing our individual term project. And our individual term project is a good chunk of your grade. So I want to make sure that everybody is on the same page and understands what you're doing this week with that project. So you are going to be reviewing the Paul Curry versus Miller Coors case. And that case has to do with termination of an employee who was a longtime employee for use of marijuana and in using the marijuana in Colorado under the medical marijuana permissive use. So you're going to be looking at this this particular case, and you're going to be analyzing it. And you're going to be analyzing it using what we call the issue evaluation form. So if you go into the individual term project and you pull up that form, what you're going to see is you're going to see a form that says student case evaluation. It's very important that you understand the different sections of this form so you complete it properly. And please make sure that when you are completing this project, you do have the individual sections listed. Issue, facts, identify the facts for the issue, identify the facts against the issue, relevant laws and regulations. So I want to see those sections, because what I'm doing is I'm wanting to make sure that you're organized, and it helps to keep you organized so that you understand you're not completing this project as though it's a research paper, because that's not what you're doing. You're analyzing this particular case and only this particular case. So you're not allowed to go to any outside sources. You're looking only at this case, the Curry versus Coors Miller case, and that's all you're allowed, or Miller Coors case, that's all you're allowed to look at is just that case. Because if you go outside to other sources, then you're not actually looking at just the case, because you're analyzing this case and understanding how the judge reached its decision in only that particular case. So when you look at that case, you're going to be breaking that case down, and you're going to start with identifying an issue. And what's an issue? Well, an issue is the legal question that a court has to decide. And for this situation, go back to the reading a case tutorial, take a look at that so you understand how to read the case, and so you understand where you're going to learn the issue for that particular case. And there's only one really overarching issue that I want you to identify for the case. And I want you to focus on the substantive issue. What was the real issue that the court had to resolve in this particular case? So I want you to remember that the issue is the legal question. You don't state an issue as an affirmative statement. That's the holding. You're going to get to that part of the holding in a different section of the issue evaluation form. But you're going to be looking at the issue itself. A good rule of thumb is to always start your issue with the word whether, which is W-H-E-T-H-E-R, because that can take an affirmative statement and turn it into a question. And so if you start with that, you're starting in a good place. Again, remember, you're not making a statement of the facts, you're not talking about all the facts, you're talking about the question that the court had to resolve in reaching its decision. And if you want to send me your individual term project by Friday afternoon, or whatever you have that you've already created for it, I'd be happy to take a look at it and give you some feedback and let you know whether you're heading in the right direction. The better everybody does on the project, the more you learn from it, and that's what we want. So then you're going to go down to number 2, and you're going to do the facts. What are the facts of the situation? There are always facts for an issue and always facts against it. So I want you to identify the facts against the issue and the facts for the issue. When you're looking at the facts for the issue, you're looking at it from the perspective of the person that's filing the suit. So from the perspective of Mr. Curry, what facts supported his position? From the perspective of Miller's Coors, what facts supported their position against the issue? Okay, so you're looking at those two different perspectives. So for the issue are those facts that support Mr. Curry, against the issue, those facts that actually support Miller Coors arguing against Mr. Curry's issue. Then we go down to identify the relevant laws. Well, what were the laws at issue? Obviously, Colorado's law regarding the use of medical marijuana is going to be one of the laws. But what other laws? Were there other cases that the court had to look at? Was there constitutional laws that the court had to look at in making its decision. So what laws were actually at issue? And I don't yet want you to talk about the law in that section. Do not talk about the law. Just give me the name of the law and where it can be found. Okay? The decision and holding. The decision and holding is how did the court answer the issue? And for the decision and holding, you're going to basically take your issue and turn it into an affirmative statement, or you're going to turn it into a negative statement. So if your holding is, whether the court whether Mr. Curry's termination was blah, 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 then, and you answer in the positive, you're probably going to say Mr. Curry's termination was blah, 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 blah. But if you're going to answer it in the negative, you're probably going to say Mr. Curry's termination was not blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's how you would do it. Your holding should mirror your issue, answering it in the affirmative or negative. If it doesn't, then that means that somewhere along the way you want to go back and you want to make a revision on either the issue or the holding, depending on which one you have a more emotional attachment to. Okay, so then we get down to the rationale section. That is going to be the longest section of your evaluation form, because that's where you are going to discuss the law, the elements of the law. You're going to define the law, and then you're going to discuss how did the court apply the facts to the law to reach its decision. So tell me about it. I don't want you cutting and pasting. I don't want you quoting. I want you to tell me in your words, your understanding based on the law, in your understanding of the law, how the court reached its decision in this particular case. Not done yet, though. So then we go down to, based on this evaluation, number 6, what is your opinion? So just give me your general opinion on the situation and what occurred. What do you feel could have taken place that may have changed the situation? What could one party have done, either party have done, to have changed the situation? Then number 7, very, very important section, because you are in a business law class and you are getting your degree most likely in finance. So with that said, or business administration, what that said is, what would you recommend if you're the COO, the Chief Operating Officer of this organization of Miller's Coors? What could you have done to make sure that this situation doesn't happen in the future? What changes, and you have to be specific, what changes do you need to make to the company's organizational structure? Whether it's the employee manual, whether it's the process and procedure for addressing these types of situations, what does Miller Coors need to do in order to prevent this from happening again in the future? Because when we are involved in lawsuits, we're taking time away from other aspects of our life, other aspects of running our business, because now, and it's a huge expense from a business perspective, now all of those factors are playing into you not being able to do what you need to do in order to make sure your business is going and running smoothly. So you're looking at this assignment from that perspective. What this does is this takes a lot of what we do on major decisions every day in our lives when we're deciding if we're going to buy a car, what program we're going to study in school, whether we're going to buy a house, whatever it is. It takes those things that we actually, this process we go through in our mind, and it takes it and it organizes it. And that's what we're doing. And this is an organizational structure that honestly you could use from here on out in your life in reaching conclusions and decisions on major aspects of your life and things that may happen in your company moving forward. So I'm not trying to turn you all into attorneys, but what I am trying to do is make sure that you understand this process that you have to go through in order to reach a major decision. And the rationale section is really how you articulate that major decision to your employees, to your significant other, to whoever it is that you have to discuss this decision with in order for them to understand how you reached it. Okay, so real quick, moving on. So this week we are also going to be studying intellectual property and other property rights and a little bit on cyber piracy. Now, obviously in this cyber world of e-commerce, we have to protect ourselves and our clients and customers from attacks on the internet, from their personal information being taken. Intellectual property is a very important aspect of running your business as well. So we have cybersecurity, which we talk about as cyber piracy, and then we have intellectual property and other property rights. And when we talk about intellectual property, we're talking about that property that gives you that marketing edge. Whether it's a patent because you're in the research and development area industry, or whether it is a copyright because you've created a work of art or a textbook or whatever it might be, a song, or whether it's a trademark, that logo that identifies your business and gives you that marketing edge because you've done such an amazing job that everybody relates that logo to you or that name to you, whether it's Bush's Baked Beans, KFC, Subway, Target, Macy's, McDonald's. You know, we can go on and on and on. With regard to trademarks. And then there's trade secrets. And trade secrets are those things that we keep secret because it gives us a marketing edge to keep them secret. And whether it's our customers list or our Coca-Cola recipe for our soda that gives us that marketing edge, we don't want that information divulged to anyone else, and so we're trying to protect that. Trade secret is the one thing that's not protected on a federal level, only on a state level. And Florida does have laws protecting trade secrets. So when we talk about intellectual property, that's what we're talking about. And that is a personal property right as opposed to real property, which is pertains to real estate and things of that nature. So when you're looking at the materials, think about that this week. If you have any questions on your individual term project, don't hesitate.